Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Parish. Today, I'm happy to introduce our guest preacher for our service, Joanna Lubkin. Joanna is delighted to be back at First Parish after previously providing pastoral care to the congregation for several summers. Since she last joined us, Joanna has returned to Hebrew College to become a rabbi, 13 years after she initially started there. Her path has included 10 years of service in UU congregations, college chaplaincy, a lifetime of Jewish education, a passion for song leading, and training as a community organizer. She is called to cultivate radically welcoming communities where people feel that they wholeheartedly belong. Joanna is a worship arts lead at the Sanctuary Boston, and she recently served as a student rabbi at Chaim congregation in Derry, New Hampshire. And today, Joanna's sermon focuses on what do we need to imagine. Joanna is inspired by lyrics by Molly Basjot's Change is Coming, What Do We Need to Imagine? And she will invite us to tune into our inner wisdom and harness the power of radical imagination to bring about the world that we want. By seeking inspiration from poets and prophets, sacred stories, and speculative fiction, we can envision that better world. Joy?
Good morning. It's so good to be with you today as I play bumper cars with your fixtures up here. This morning we're lighting our chalice with an origin story by Anastasia Birosh. We kindle this chalice not only because it originated in antiquity, but because this symbol combats malice. This burning flame represented hope during the bleakness of World War II. A sign of refuge, meaning death was circumvented, if only for that night. This emblem, a flame in a chalice encircled twice, assured wary refugees fleeing Nazi persecution that for a time they had found safety and respite. Today, this beacon shining bright reminds us to summon our strength, to extend care and love to those in need forthright. We ignite this flame today for our shared humanity. Okay, great. The flame is always in our hearts anyway. I also need a rear view mirror, apparently. Well, as that's going, I can tell you a little bit about our first song because it's not in your hymnals. So I will be sharing some stories about a retreat that I was at called Let My People Sing, Jewish communal singing. And I learned this song there by a singer-songwriter named Molly Basjot. We'll get there, teamwork. And this is a song that is pretty simple. It's got 3 sections. We'll sing through all of them, but you can also at one point, if you get excited, layer them on top of each other. So I'll sing a line and invite you to sing it back to me. Oh, yay, look, it's going. Good. Good. Can I just have the opening chord? So the lyrics are on your orders of service, and I believe at some point maybe on your screen, but at least on your orders of service. It goes, change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Can we do that? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Let's do that again. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? One more time. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Here's the second part goes, to be prepared. You know I'm scared. To be prepared. You know I'm scared. To be know I'm scared. One more time. To be prepared. You know I'm scared. And then the third one is really a party to sing. It goes, 'cause I know from brokenness there's hope. 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's hope. And we'll go back to Change is Coming. And I'll invite you, if you'd like to rise in your space, you're welcome to. But if you think the people in front of you won't then be able to see my gestures, you're welcome to stay seated. So we'll start again. I'll start through. We'll do each one, say, 4 times and cycle through to the next one. And if you feel called to stick on one or add in an extra harmony, that's what this is designed for. So we'll start with Change is Coming. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need? Change again. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to be prepared? To be prepared. You know I'm scared. To be prepared. Yes, I know I'm scared. To be prepared. To be prepared. You know I'm scared. To be you know, 'cause I know, 'cause I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness. Change is coming. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to be prepared? To be prepared. You know I'm scared. To be prepared. Yes, I know I'm scared. 'Cause I know from brokenness there's hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's change is coming. One last set. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? One more time. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Beautiful. Thank you.
Please say along with me our covenant. We gather as a loving community to encourage and comfort one another. We gather as a diverse community to support each other in our search for spiritual truth. We gather as a service community to live our beliefs through action and care for our world.
Good morning. We have a story for you tonight, it's not nighttime. I'm tired, apparently. We have a story for you this morning. So if you'd like, position yourself so you can see the pictures on the screen when they come up. Our story is called The Artivist by Nicholas Smith. I love to paint. It relaxes me. They say I'm an artist. I love to help my community, to seed goodness in the world. They say I'm an activist. But sometimes the world that I see is not the world I wish to see. And the problems seem larger than life. I want to scream, I want to help, I want to act. I want to hold up a mirror to the world and show everyone what isn't working right. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed too. Above the surface, this seems right, but that's when I realized that fixing things requires us all to look deeper. All I can think to do is paint the problems and the solutions people can work on together. I think it's time to combine both parts of who I am, to take action with my art. It's time to be an artivist. I will sketch and draw and scribble and paint the broken bones I see and the healing I hope for. Until, hopefully, I open a few eyes to the things that aren't working right. Or many, many eyes. Artivism has the power to spark the compassion and empathy of the whole world. And the artivist can light that flame. The artivist can inspire others to give back by painting what every person deserves. The artivist must be brave enough to speak up, even when it is scary. And humble enough to listen before speaking. The artivist is an ally. The artivist is a protector of the planet and the planet's children. The artivist is a memory keeper, painting justice for all, especially all those who no longer have a voice. The artivist doesn't only paint, she sings, he writes, they film. We repurpose, we build, we bring awareness to what can be changed for the better so that everyone can take action. The artivist is you. What change will you create? Now, as our youngest and their teachers follow me off to their religious exploration programming, please join in singing Long Time Son. The words will appear on the screen and in your orders of service.
May the long time sunshine
Whenever we gather, we know that we gather with joys and sorrows, hopes and prayers, even if they go unspoken or unwritten. This morning we didn't get any candle cards, but that doesn't mean there aren't things weighing down our heart or things that are bursting forth for celebration. I invite us to just take a few moments of breath, and if you would like to speak into that quiet, the name of somebody or somewhere that's on your mind or heart, just quietly into the room. We'll hold space for that for a few moments. We hold all of these names from our hearts in love, with prayers for resilience, healing, and celebration. I invite you to join me in another moment of quiet, of prayer and meditation, with words adapted from Lynn Cox. Spirit of life and love, our hearts are overflowing with lamentation and with longing. Longing for a world with more hope and less despair. Longing for a life of more connection and less isolation. Longing for a brave love, a growing seed within us spreading far and wide. Longing for a future of less consumption and more compassion. Longing for a government that quells hate and violence rather than generates it. Longing for a nation that acknowledges its injustices and works to make them right. Longing for a present with each of us doing what is ours to resist oppression and build a better world. Longing for companions to give us courage that we might be the people that these times require. In this circle of care and compassion, we hold those who have joy in their heart, for we know that joy shared is a form of nourishment for all of us. In this circle of care and compassion, we hold in our hearts in witness those who come today with sorrow. For each sorrow touches our hearts, and we accept the call to lighten the burden of our friend. We take one more fuller, more abundant breath if you can. And our prayer continues with this meditative response. It's a song, it's very short. I'll teach it to you all, invite you. We'll sing it a couple of times. You're invited to join in. This is Hold On by Heidi Wilson. You may have seen footage of it in Minnesota. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, my dear ones, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. Hold on, hold on, my dear ones, here comes the dawn. One more time on humming. So may it be.
This month, our plate collection is shared equally between First Parish and the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry, a Roxbury-based justice organization that provides services such as enrichment programming for children and youth, transitional housing for families escaping domestic violence, and hosting historic tours and arts programs that support the Roxbury community. To give today's plate collection, text the message, the phone number 73256. To give toward this year's pledge, text the number 73256. Thank you to Anne Brayan for the beautiful flowers today. And they're given in appreciation of Leslie Nelkin and Leslie Ross Degnan. And our reading today is titled Remembering the Future by Julian Jamaico Soto. Can we develop the skill of remembering the future? Can we commit to building a community that will extend into a time that we only know by memory because it will outlast us? Memorize the compass points of the day yet to come. The truth, the love, the fire, the endless yes of the horizon. Shake the scales from your imagination. Reach, stretch, rise. There is no more time for pretending that everything can be all right. Without your care, without your attention, you can mourn, grief being more real at times than the promise of sunrise, more real than the peace of the moon that by inconsistent silver turns disappears. And yet, while we may mourn changes, losses, deception, and betrayals, beneath the ash, we find the ember. We weep, and then, as we have learned from the labor movements, we organize. Remember the day toward which we gather, the tomorrow toward which we advance. It is with your actions today that you engage that muscle memory, that sense of smell, the ragged velvet feel of a day you have never lived. It is also your day. Remember it well.
I keep thinking of wheelchair attachments that would be useful, and I feel like there could be a mobile pulpit that would be really helpful. So that's how I'll make my millions to pay back my student loans. Perfect. That line of the song we sang together of change is coming, what do we need to imagine, both inspires and sometimes infuriates me. Infuriates only because I feel like I've had enough change. Please stop change coming. That's enough. There's a video that comes across my social media feed every month or 6 weeks that goes, millennials living through another disaster. Millennials living through another disaster. That's enough change. But it inspires me because it reminds me that change doesn't only happen for the worse, that we need to hold on to a vision for the change that we want to see. And it reminds me that even though I'm scared, I can keep bringing back my attention to that sense of hope that isn't naive, but tells us what we're building toward. There are a lot of ways to spark our imagination, to picture that beautiful future. Here's one story to start with. I'm sitting under a big open tent in the woods with more than 100 other people on a sweltering July day being ruthlessly bitten by mosquitoes, and I am in paradise. This is a few summers ago, one of the years I attended that 4-day Jewish community singing retreat that I mentioned, Let My People Sing. And every year that I go, it becomes more and more transformative. This temporary community is committed to building a multiracial, multicultural, and genderful community. There are elders and babies and people with a wide range of Jewish observance. You knew that when you sat down for a meal or a song session, the person next to you likely practiced Judaism differently from you, and that was expected and honored. We encouraged one another, rooted for nervous newbies leading their first song, and joined in with full voices in boisterous song and prayer. And for me, what made me nearly cry for joy every day was that it was the most welcoming, inclusive, accessible, and disability justice-centered event or community that I have ever been a part of. So on a Friday afternoon, as the community got ready for Shabbat, one of the retreat leaders said, "It is taught that the sweetness of Shabbat is a taste of Olam Haba, the world to come." Now, traditionally, this refers to a messianic age, The community organizers among us might know it as the world as it could be, a world that we keep creating. But this, she said, this right here is a taste of the world to come. These whole 4 days, this community, savor it. Another participant in one of our closing circles said that they were anxious about going back out into what they were about to call the real world, and then they said, you know what, no, this right here, this is the real world. Everything else out there, that's the matrix. And both of those comments have stuck with me, as has this embodied, lived feeling of seeing that it is possible to have those kinds of spaces and communities, and that it leaves me wanting more. There is so much wrong with the world right now. We might have different lists, but I think we could all agree that there's stuff in need of fixing and in need of repair and in need of love. And I know that I can't sustain myself on fighting against things alone, in either sense of the word. Can't do it by myself, but also cannot only fight against things. I need to remember what I am fighting for, what we are working for together. Otherwise, I am burnt out. Does that resonate with any of you who've had a similar experience? Yeah. I think it's pretty universal. And it gives me that energy to keep going when I hear people articulate where they hope we're going, what is possible, or they describe something amazing that's popped up, like a brand new mutual aid operation where we take care of each other. It gives me the juice to keep going. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? And what helps you imagine the world as it could be? I'm a big reader, and there's a genre of fiction that I keep gravitating towards. And it doesn't just dwell on a destroyed world or a dystopia or a suffering society. These stories imagine how humans might not just survive perilous times, but actually thrive. I think of Emily St. John Mandel's novel, Station 11, where in a post-apocalyptic world, our protagonists are a traveling symphony that goes from little settlement to little settlement, performing orchestral music and Shakespeare plays. In the wake of this global tragedy where scrappy survivors are trying just to eke out a living, this group reminds them what's worth living for. And their motto is, because survival is insufficient. And every few years when I need a boost, I reread The Fifth Sacred Thing by Starhawk, which is quite a commitment. It's a thick book. I recommend it. After a different global societal collapse, one community remakes their world into a kind of hippie ecotopia in the San Francisco Bay Area, because of course it's in the San Francisco Bay Area. The streets have been ripped up and turned into gardens. Food and clean water are available to everyone. No one lacks for medical care. And the city's defense council consists primarily of 9 elderly women whose job is to listen and to dream. When a fundamentalist, totalitarian force tries to invade and steal their resources, its residents refuse to use violence and refuse to give up their vision of a just and cooperative world that they know can exist. Instead, they each say to the soldiers, "There's a place set for you at our table if you would join us." I thought of that refrain when I saw footage of protesters in Minnesota over the last many weeks. You might have seen this one too, or something like it. I picture a scene of about 2,000 people in the freezing, freezing cold, standing outside a hotel that was said to be housing ICE agents. This is part of the singing resistance movement They sang this song by Annie Schlafer. It goes, "Oh, it's okay to change your mind. Show us your courage. Leave this behind. It's okay to change your mind. And you can join us here anytime." Just songs like that give me such a boost of hope. And not long after, I saw a video of 15,000 people singing it together in a packed stadium, I think with Brandi Carlile, before bringing it back out onto the streets and across the country. Now, in more traditionally religious terms, these reminders of what could be possible is the work of prophets. In Christianity, for example, the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven has evoked a vision of a peaceful, loving world that we might strive for. In a way, kind of building a heaven on earth. Prophets have cried wake-up calls full of warnings that are dire about what could happen if they don't change their ways, but they also articulate what could be possible and how beautiful that could be. Famously, there's Isaiah, who's considered a prophet in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, who describes a future where swords shall be turned into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks, and nations will study war no more. That is a kind of radical imagination. I love that term. In their book called Radical Imagination, Alex Krisnabish and Max Haven describe the concept in a way that resonates with me in this time. Whether we're thinking globally or in our country or in our own lives, they say, radical imagination is the ability to imagine the world, life, and social institutions not as they are, but as they might otherwise be. It's the courage and the intelligence and the wisdom to recognize that the world can and should be changed. The radical imagination is not just dreaming different futures. It's bringing those possibilities back from the future to the present, to work on today. Things like science fiction and speculative fiction and prophecy, then, are all ways of practicing futures together. Whenever we try to envision a world without war, without violence, a cooperative war, we are engaging in speculative fiction. And this is one of the things we do in our spiritual communities. We practice futures together, practice justice together, living into new stories. And it is our right and our responsibility to create a new, kinder world. So in my own family of origin, the way we practiced that kind of envisioning new worlds was through the television show Star Trek. And I literally only exist because of Star Trek. My parents met at fan conventions in the 80s or 70s because they both wrote fan fiction. I'm fourth generation, like my grandparents would. It runs really deep. And yes, I have spoken with Reverend Katie about our shared love of Star Trek and Star Wars, the future and a galaxy long ago, far, far away. This Star Trek universe has just become our world in a way that we have quotes and references to characters and inside jokes, but also its idea of a bit better future. So here's a little illustration of that. As Anne mentioned in my introduction, I had actually started studying to be a rabbi in 2010, which was also the same year I began attending UU services at Arlington Street Church. That was about 2 years before Katie came in as our intern. And I kept attending because I was so inspired by this example of UU pluralistic community, a way that we could come together from different religions. I loved it as a way of influencing my rabbinate. And when I, as a beginning rabbinical student, started attending UU services at Arlington Street, my mother, my Jewish mother, had an understandably tough time wrapping her head around it. I'd call her on Sunday afternoons and say I was driving home from singing in the choir at church, and she would always respond, "You're driving home from where? You went to a church?" And like every week, it's like clutching pearls. It's not that kind of a church. It's not actually Christian, and like they say community, but it's not really, you can believe all these different things, but not whatever you want. It never quite assuaged the concern. And I get it. Religious trauma is a thing, and generational concern is a thing, but anyway. My mom finally came with me to a service on a Sunday when she was in town to see me sing in the choir, and I tried very hard not to make eye contact with her while I was up there. But I did go up to her after the service and kind of with trepidation say, "What'd you think?" And she had such a look of relief on her face when she smiled at me, I think for a lot of reasons, but she said, "It's Iddick, I get it now." And that tells me where the few deep Star Trek fans are, because if you knew to chuckle at that. So it's a Star Trek thing, stands for infinite diversity in infinite combinations. Infinite diversity in infinite combinations is the basis of Vulcan philosophy. Vulcan with a V, not Balkan like the States. And it's a concept that's been really important to my mom in her own writing. And in her experience of attending a UU service, my mom experienced a real-life human community living out these Vulcan values, celebrating the differences between us, being open to learning from all of the many truths in the universe. She saw folks from a wide array of cultural backgrounds and racial identities all coming together on their searches for truth and meaning. After that day, I have gotten no more grief anytime I attend a UU congregation. She likes to come with me. And this isn't an accident or an unintended side effect of Star Trek. It's a work of radical imagination, a way of exploring ideas that can liberate all of us. In the turbulent times of the late 1960s, Roddenberry showed us, I skipped a line. Gene Roddenberry, the creator and producer of Star Trek, wanted to show us the world as it could be. In those turbulent times of the late 1960s, he showed us a possibility for a future in which we have moved past war and greed, where neighbors are united in a federation of planets, where different races and species serve together as a crew, as family. Roddenberry described it this way: Star Trek was an attempt to say that humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day that it begins not just to tolerate, but take a special delight in differences, in ideas and differences in life forms. If humanity is to survive, we will learn that differences in ideas and attitudes are a delight, part of life's exciting variety, not something to fear. That does sound like something we hope for in our spiritual communities to me. So my friends, the hurting world and the future that is coming need us to awaken our imaginations and trust our inner wisdom that it could be possible. Because radical imagination isn't just about dreaming of those futures or remembering some idyllic moment in the past. It's about bringing those possibilities back here to work on in the present. So will you join me in imagining for just a few moments? I want us to give us a little bit of time together to see if we can conjure up a taste of Olam Haba, the world to come. If you're comfortable, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Have you ever had a taste of the world to come? A moment of sweetness, of community, of justice. A time when you thought, I want more of this. I invite you to call it to mind right now. And if there isn't an example you can think of from your own life, Is there something you can picture from an inspiring work of art or fiction or a sacred text? A world that you would love to see embodied right here? What could it look like to put just a dollop of that sweetness into your life right now? What could we create? What would it feel like? Now, can you take that idea even bigger, expand the circle wider, and maybe even wider still? What would that sweetness look like across your city, across the land? Could it even spread itself around the world or to other worlds? Who knows? Because it all starts with just these little tastes. And before we close out this time of reflection, here's just one more question for you. What is one small, sweet step that you could take to bring a little taste of that world to come into your day today? From that, it can always keep growing. If you're ready, you can open your eyes, raise your gaze, or turn your attention back to the room here. Beloveds, change is coming. I believe in the beauty, power, courage, and wisdom of our imaginations to keep creating a more beautiful world. Keep living into your vision. Share it with your loved ones and your community. And let us build it together. So may it be. Our closing hymn follows along that idea. We'll be singing Come and Go With Me to That Land. If you want the hymnals, it's in the Teal Hymnals number 1018, but I believe the lyrics are also available on the orders of service. I want you to rise and bow to your spirit if you'd like. I invite you to join me in the words of our chalice extinguishing, perhaps as Anne extinguishes the chalice for us. You want to do the words or you chalice extinguishing? Okay.
We extinguish
this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until
we
we are together again.
Again.
And I cannot say closing words any better than the poet Aurora Levins Morales has. So I'm going to leave us with some excerpts from her poem Ve'ahavta, which means, and you shall love, to carry with us. And she writes in part, imagine winning. This is your sacred task. This is your power. Imagine every detail of winning, the exact smell of the summer streets in which no one has been shot. The muscles that you never unclenched from worry gone soft as newborn skin. The sparkling taste of food when we know that no one on earth is hungry, that the beggars are fed, the people under the bridge wrapping themselves in thin sheets, or the people in the back of the car and the children who suck on stones, all of them nest under flocks of roofs that keep multiplying their shelter. Lean with all of your being toward that day when the poor of the world shake down a rain of good fortune out of the heavy clouds, and justice rolls down like waters. Defend the world in which we win as if it were your child. It is your child. Defend it as if it were your lover. It is your lover. When you inhale and when you exhale, breathe the possibility of another world into the 37.2 trillion cells of your body until it shines with hope. Then imagine more. Hold hands, share water, keep imagining, so that we and the children of our children's children may live. Go in peace and go and be blessed as you are a blessing to all. So may it be.